Hello, it's me again. Well, I have just had lunch and now it's time to record another video, okay? Yes, I told you in the last video how mad I am because my TV stopped functioning for some reason. And it's weird, you know. I've been kind of unlucky lately. But no problem, the tides will turn eventually. And I still have other means to play games. For example, I love playing video games, as you may have already noticed. And I can play video games on the computer. It's not the same thing, of course, but until this week, I guess, in the next 5 days, I will have a new TV here. Okay, we have already finished studying the verb wish, and now we will start studying something else, okay? Let's see what we will study. It's a different topic, different thing. Well, when you study, for example, Portuguese, it's very common to study the passive voice. In Portuguese, I didn't like the passive voice very much, I have to admit. In English, it's almost the same thing, but somehow I think it's easier, okay? For example, this computer was bought last year. This computer that you are seeing here, right? I have a computer. This is my computer, right? It was bought last year by me. I was the one who bought this computer. In this sentence, I'm not specifying who bought the computer, right? This computer is the subject of the sentence. But if you pay attention, you will see that the computer doesn't do anything. It's not the doer of the action, okay? The computer didn't do anything. So it's important to know that. Who bought the computer? Do I know who bought the computer? Let's suppose I bought the computer. So I can say, I bought this computer last year. This computer was bought last year, or was bought by me last year. I'm putting between parentheses because originally the sentence doesn't mention anything. I don't know who is the doer of the action. This is an active verb, okay? What is the active verb? The active verb specifies what the doer of the action does, right? Who bought the computer? I bought. So here, the subject is the doer of the action. It's the doer, the person, the action, the person that does something. Okay, and so you understood this. The passive voice, you have the subject, you have a verb to be here. You can see a verb to be in the past, was or were. It's what you can see here, okay? We will study the structures and more examples later. But the first glance you have here, you have the subject, was or were, And the verb here is in the past participle. It's not the simple past. It's important to emphasize here, but we will see more details, because I bought is the same that was bought. Why? Because I bought is the simple past. Okay, I bought last year, was bought last year. So keep in mind this. Another example. Let me see. When you use the active voice, when you use the active voice, you express who is the doer of the action, okay? The thieves stole money from my house. For example, I left my home open, unlocked. I forgot my lock. Okay, it's just a situation, right? It's not true. Hope. Yes. Thankfully, it's not true. The thieves stole money from my house. The thieves are the doer of the action. They did the action of stealing money. So this is the active voice. Okay, this is stole, simple past. When I turn to the passive voice, let's see what it will be. So I say money was stolen from my house. I don't need to tell here who is the doer of the action. I know that I am not the doer of the action, right? I'm not determining the subject here, but it's very common to use the passive voice this way. So, what was stolen? So this is the object of the first sentence. This is the subject. The subject is the doer of the action. The thieves stole money. Money is the object. When I turn to the passive voice, the object becomes the subject. So money was object here, and in the passive voice becomes the subject. So I say, money was stolen. Why do I use was here? When you have simple past in the active voice, the thieves stole. Stole is simple past, okay, of the verb steal. Steal, stole, stolen. Still, stole, stolen. So in the active voice, I used stole. In the passive voice, I use was, because when I have in the active voice simple past, in the passive voice, I use was or were, the verb to be in the simple past, plus the main verb in the past participle. So what is the main verb of the sentence? Steal. So steal becomes stolen. Money was stolen from my house. Okay? All right. As I mentioned, it's possible to specify who is the doer of the action. For example, he is employed by the company. I want to say that he's an employee, right? He works for the company. He is employed by the company. When I use the preposition by, what follows the preposition is the subject. It's not the subject, it's the doer of the action. The subject here is he, but he is not the doer of the action or situation, right? He is employed by the company. When I turn, this is the passive voice, by the way, right? I use the verb in the present and the verb employ in the past participle, which is a regular verb. Now let's turn it to into an active voice. The company employs him. For example, the company employs him, or the company employs 10 people, for example. The company is the doer of the action. The verb here is in the present, right? What does it mean? It means that when you have an active voice in the simple present, the passive voice is the verb to be in the present and the main verb in the past participle. So you see there is a pattern here. What is a pattern? You can observe here. We will see it later, right? The next video we will work about it later. But what you need to understand is that the passive voice has a pattern. Okay, let's see another example. My room is cleaned every day. I'm staying in a hotel, right? And every single day when I leave the room, my room is messy, right? I slept in the bed, I took a shower. Well, it's messy sometimes, but every single day my room is cleaned. Who is the doer of the action? Who does or causes the action? I don't know. Who does or causes the action? In this situation, I have no idea, but I can suppose it's a maid, right? The hotel maids come and clean the room. It's not necessary to know who does the action. If I know who does the action, I can specify, I can use, right? When I want to use, let me correct. When I want to mention who does the action, I use the preposition by and the after. For example, my house is cleaned by me every day. For example, every week. Not every day. I don't clean the house every single day. Not necessary. My house is cleaned by me every day. Or I can say, I clean my house. So here, my house doesn't do anything. Is not what causes the action, so I can say that this is the passive voice because I have the verb to be, I have the main verb in the past participle, I have the preposition by, and I have the pronoun here. So me is the doer of the action. I clean the house, right? I clean my house. This can be omitted, right? It's not necessary to use by someone. When I don't want to emphasize who did the action, I can say my house is cleaned every week. It doesn't matter who cleans the house. Or I can use I clean my house is the active voice. And remember, is in the present. Clean is in the present. So the verb tense of the active voice here is in the simple present, is the verb to be tense in the passive voice. Okay, is cleaned. Okay. It's not complicated, right? We will establish the pattern of the passive voice in the next lesson, right? But for now, it's important to see the various examples that we have. Okay, see you next video.